Sports Snippets, Dennis Sullivan here on a Sunday, the 4th of October. Very happy that you could join me here for a few moments as I discuss the Miami Dolphins Week 4 loss to the Seattle Seahawks by a score of 31-23. If you do like the content of this particular video, please go ahead and like and even subscribe to my channel if you would like to do so as well. Also find me on various podcast platforms as well under the same name, Sports Snippets with Dennis Sullivan. So guys, let's get into this particular game. A little frustrating as a Dolphin fan today, and I'll get into that in just a moment, but you know, it was a fun game to watch. Nonetheless, I mean, going in, we're a fairly big underdog in this one. The Dolphins, we're just not there yet against the top teams, but it was a pretty decent game to watch. And it just comes down to, can we stop the better offensive teams? And so far this season, if you go by those last two losses to Buffalo and now the Seahawks today, the answer clearly is no. But let's get into the game anyway. Let's get into the highlights of the game, as I like to put it, or the finer points of the game, and go to the snippets board here. And to start off, as I was beginning to explain, the Dolphins defense, it's just, it's a work in progress. It's certainly a work in progress. I mean, we have made a few strides along the way. Landon Roberts would have 7 tackles to lead the Dolphin defense. He played pretty well. We had a few players on the defensive side look really good. But it's just too many big plays, too many gains of 15, 20 yards or more. There was much similarity to the Buffalo Bill game a few weeks ago, where we would just let up these big plays, and it really wound up hurting us in the end. I mean, in a way, we're kind of lucky we only gave up 31 points. But it is what it is, guys. I mean, Seattle's a good team. So Seattle moves to 4-0 with this victory. Dolphins fall to 1-3. Okay, now moving along, item number 2, yes. It was certainly the star of this game was the one and only Russell Wilson, who was amazing. We kind of expected it, though. Going into this game, we kind of, I said to myself, Russell Wilson, he's having a tremendous year. Seahawks undefeated. This might be his best year. I mean, as far as throwing the football, probably is so far. If you look at a MVP in the NFC thus far, leading the charge, without looking at all the candidates for possible MVP so far, Russell Wilson is right up there. Okay, so we have to keep that one in mind. I mean, we lost to a heck of a player. Very opportunistic is Russell Wilson, as he would throw for 360 yards on 24 completions out of 34 attempts, 2 touchdowns. He had that one interception where Howard would jump in and intercept. I mean, it was a goal-to-goal situation. I was very surprised at that early in the second half. But other than that one mistake, I mean, he played flawless. He really did. He was sacked twice. Each quarterback would be sacked twice. Really didn't present much of a factor. Neither team really put all that much pressure on the quarterback. Dolphins, Ryan Fitzpatrick, he had a little bit of pressure, but not really. Russell Wilson, not really either. And he hit that screen pass that they had in a key spot in the fourth quarter. I mean, just destroyed us. He takes it all the way down inside the 5. Whew. I'm just taking the wind out of my own sails, explaining that. Item 3 on the snippets board, what really did us in, guys, was the end of the first half, although there would then seem to be opportunities afterwards. But the end of the first half was just something else. We were within a point. So Dolphins kick another field goal, to cut it to a 1-point game, 10-9, very late in the first half. The Seahawks would then drive something like 71 yards in under 30 seconds, fueled by this 57-yard completion. You just can't give those plays up, guys. If there's one thing right now that's really, really, really hurting the Dolphins thus far, it's giving up the big play defensively. So it's really been a factor so far and really is hurting us so far this season. Field goals, well, I put that in there because whenever you kick 5 field goals, sometimes you're lucky and you pull out a win, but Dolphins just couldn't get the ball in the end zone when they needed to and would settle for field goal after field goal after field goal. Seahawks offense is just a little too good, just a little too talented to try to beat that team by kicking one field goal after the other. I mean, the offense was good enough today where the ball was certainly being moved. A lot of yardage was picked up by the Dolphins, but we got to get that ball into the end zone. The Seahawks, a very impressive player for the Seahawks today was Chris Carson, the running back, who would have 80 yards on the ground on 16 carries and 2 touchdowns. He also had those running plays at the end of the game inside 2 minutes, Dolphins using their timeouts, down by 8, which that's how the game would end, 31-23. Using our timeouts, a little bit frustrating as a fan to see Chris Carson, who is a good player in his own right. I mean, we got to give him some credit, but I mean, he runs for 4 yards. And here's the thing. I mean, it's like we know they're going to run the clock out, so it's not like chances are 90 to 95% they're going to run the ball. He gets 4 yards, then he gets another 4 yards. We use another timeout. Then he has that run where it was very close. Called our third and final timeout, and they measured to see if it was a first down. It was very close. It kind of almost looked like it wasn't a first down, but by about the nose of the football, it's marked a first down. Game over, basically. Seahawks win. Chris Carson, though, I mean, he's a tough runner. DJ Dallas would rush. He's more of your fill-in, second-string guy. He would add 8 yards on the ground on 2 carries. Russell Wilson himself would rush for 5 yards on 4 carries. Travis Homer had 4 carries for 5 yards. Leading the way for the Seahawks receiving, the group of receivers, DK Metcalf had a really good game, 106 yards on 4 receptions. David Moore, he had that big reception. He had 95 yards receiving on 3 catches and a touchdown. Tyler Lockett, usually a little bit of a quiet game for Tyler Lockett for him. I mean, he's a pretty good player. 2 catches, 39 yards. Greg Olsen, 5 catches and 35 yards for the veteran tight end. Carson, the running back, would add 20 yards receiving on 3 catches. Will Dissly, 2 catches, 15 yards. DJ Dallas, the running back, 2 catches, 15 yards as well. Homer would add a catch for 3 yards. Bobby Wagner would pace the Seahawk defensive effort with 11 solo tackles. That's tremendous. For the Dolphin offense, Ryan Fitzpatrick, I mean, it was a lot of underneath stuff. Overall, Fitzpatrick would actually, I mean, he would put up some pretty good statistics, although he did throw 2 interceptions, would go 29 out of 45. The yardage was pretty good, 315 yards, but no touchdowns that were thrown. He would also lead the running attack. We've seen this last year a few times. 47 yards on the ground on 6 carries and a touchdown. Myles Gaskin would have 10 carries for 40 yards, had a little bit more room to run, had a couple of nice inside runs. Matt Breida, 3 carries, 9 yards. Breida would have a couple of nice receptions in this game. Lynn Bowden Jr., the wide receiver, would add a 5-yard carry, and Jordan Howard, 2 carries and only 2 yards. Devante Parker had a big game, 10 catches for 110 yards. He missed part of the first half with what appeared to be an injury, but he was kind of moving around there in the sidelines. He would return and play very well. Isaiah Ford, 48 yards in receiving, he would add on 4 catches. Matt Breida would add 39 yards on three catches or 3 receptions. Jakeem Grant also had 3 receptions, excuse me, for 36 yards. Durham Smythe, the backup tight end, 2 catches for 30 yards. Dolphins would have 10 players with receptions in this game that would catch passes. Mike Gesicki only had 1 catch for 15 yards. Really not sure what that's all about. We've got to get him the ball more. Preston Williams only 1 catch for 15 yards. Chandler Cox, 1 reception as well, 3 yards. Jordan Howard added a 3-yard reception as well. So guys, where does that leave us looking ahead? The Dolphins have another tough game next week on the road against the San Francisco 49ers. We know that's not going to be easy at all. Niners are a tough defensive team. Dolphins go on the road across the country. The undefeated Seattle Seahawks will play home to the Minnesota Vikings. So guys, boils down to this. I mean, defensively, the Dolphin D is the main topic as far as I'm concerned right now. They have to stop giving up these big plays. Otherwise, it's just the losses are going to keep piling up. They give up these big plays in big spots. And I think the worst example of this that we've seen to date this season were the closing 30 seconds of the first half. I mean, it's just unacceptable, guys. We can't have that happen and let a team go 30 seconds before the half, march right down and score a touchdown. You just can't have that happen. So for now, guys, this is Dennis Sullivan for Sports Snippets with Dennis Sullivan. Go ahead and hit that like button if you did, in fact, like the content of this video, and I will see you, yes, you, next time. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.